Cyborg USA, Cyborg USA. They got the skills to pay the bills and help the president along the way. Cyborg USA, Cyborg USA. They got street smarts and lots of hearts, and they made it robotic ways. They all have been a train crash, and their bodies were torn apart. Resurrected by Hans's Rick. Now they got a brand new start. Yeah, Cyborg USA, Cyborg USA. They got the skills to pay the bills. They do what we're designed to kill, and they made it good. USA, USA, USA.
In times like this of societal upheaval and uncertainty, it's important that we remember the words of Mr. Burt Bacharach, who told us what the world needs now is love, sweet love. Truer now than ever before. Lucky for that world that we got 60 minutes of love packaged up and ready to go. It's the Splendopia Hour, live, the best showcase of independent comic book projects, period. Two great guests tonight. The producers did it again. We've got Stephen Koch to tell us all about TERRALYMPUS, volumes 1 and 2. We got to go up to go down under to speak with him. Then we've got friend of the show, Ben Fuselier is back. The old fuse box is here to update us on Outlaw Nights, Genesis of a Renegade. We might have Kate the intern showing up. Me, I'm the love guru, Anton Belvedere. But let's throw it over to the host of our show, a guy with so much love. He's a millionaire. He's got so much, it's unfair. He just wants you to take your share. Here he is, Robert C. Casey. Bring him out.
Hey,
there he is.
Hey,
the love guru.
I'm going to light my cigar on camera.
Oh, wonderful. To prove
vamp for me.
That is not a prop. That is an actual Macanudo. Looks beautiful. Davidoff double R. No, that's a Romeo e Julieta. That's what you normally smoke. No?
No, this is a hand-rolled, they call it a Churchill.
Oh, the Churchill. The Dominican, right?
Like a
Dominican
darker,
tobacco.
Kind of a Madura. I guess so. I don't know.
Lovely. What great guests we've got today.
Yeah, but I'm really glad they're here. So I especially feel bad for our guest who is bringing us TERRALYMPUS, because
TERRALYMPUS,
he is like it's like 5 o'clock in the morning his time. And
he's in Australia. He's in the future.
He's furious with us that we had him on at the
furious. Time. Our people. They had to negotiate with his people for weeks to make this happen.
We're like 100%. We can't change the time, and he was like, "All right, he's here." So, you know,
that's great. It's going to be great to speak with him. And then, of course,
excited to talk about his project. Let's get him some sales.
Let's get him some sales, and then, of course, Ben Fuselier.
Yeah, he's back. And his campaign, we're trying to build that up. And that reminds me. Let me share some screens. We should talk, give an update on some of the old projects.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I just saw Mortal Worlds.
That's our buddies from Michael and Carolyn Andon.
Yeah, the Andons. That's right. You know, I forgot to make the joke, the Highway to Heaven joke with him.
Oh yeah. Michael Andon. Yeah, I feel like it's probably best you forgot to make that joke. Hey, Rob, wiggle.
I didn't forget to put wiggle up.
No, wiggle.
So these guys are down in their last 72 hours, I think. So we want to definitely back them. This comic looks great. They've been making the rounds. You know, they're past their goal, but you know, every amount helps them to print more copies and get it out to everybody.
Mm-hmm. So that was a great show when we spoke with them. That was actually the first time we talked to the Fuse Box.
That's right. He was on that show. We'll have him on a little bit later.
Yeah.
And then this one, More Lethal. Oh, did I do that right? I didn't do that right.
Oh, I liked More Lethal.
I'm going to try that again. I'm not too good at this StreamYard.
I know what. We still need that production assistant. We're never going to get anywhere.
Well, yeah. I thought.
Hell, we can't even get our intern here.
Yeah, our intern. So our intern Kate, she was supposed to be here.
Oh yeah, we should tell the people. Yeah,
she's not
Kate again because you keep.
Well, she's not here.
You keep promoting her on Twitter.
I think it's you know, I think she's going to be a big draw. It would be a big draw, her appearances, but she's bailed on us now like twice.
Right.
And this is the only thing, I had her for the whole semester, and this is the only thing I asked her to do. So
you'll be writing
I
a
talked to a
strongly
professor,
worded letter to her professor.
Well, if she doesn't show up, she has summer school. She's going to be here every episode throughout the summer. So the semester is almost over.
What month is it? June. Is it summer school?
Right. There you go. So more lethal. Yeah, more lethal. More lethal. I wanted to add, this is Aaron Calamari. You remember from a couple of days ago?
Yeah.
A couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, we had the big talk about whether or not that gal is a cyborg, a robot, an android, or what. That was our talk.
Yeah, that's right. So they just added pages to the campaign. They're doing well enough. Yeah. So they made it past the fixed goal.
Mm-hmm.
And they added more pages to that project. So there's a lot of guys in Comicsgate who are among my favorite artists on this project, like Joe Ball and I Buy Canales. So I just want to remind people about that one too.
So they just the book
then,
gets longer.
Yeah, Vamp formula.
Rob, is that what happens?
So it gets longer. They add pages.
You add pages. You get more money. You add pages.
Yeah, more pages. Yeah, less for you, the consumer. You get more story for the original amount, and the amount on that is, I think, like $5.
Yeah,
it's like a crazy low price.
Well, so, somebody was asking me, Rob. I'm sorry. Somebody was asking me about the actual process, right? Like story whether the story comes first, and then the artist draws the pictures to go along with the story. Or does it go the other way and somebody does the pictures and then you add the story based on what they're drawing?
So again, I mean, it depends. It depends on the art. It depends on the relationship. Yeah. It depends on if the writer relationship or the artist relationship. Sometimes the artist is the writer, right? What's the question again? I don't understand.
Like a Lazmat. The question is just like, did you come up with Cyborg USA the story? Then you got with your artist, the colorist, the drawer or whatever, and say, here's my story. And he's like, ooh, here's 6 panels that would tell this part of the story.
No, so in our case, we did a couple of different things because my Cyborg USA, there's 2 issues that are still available on Indiegogo, 1 and 2. So for issue number 1, well, first of all, we had the concept of Cyborg USA. So we reached out to Pablo, and I wanted him to do the concept art, or the concept designs for the characters. My plan was to have him do the designs for the characters, which were pretty simple, but to have something to show and, hopefully get an artist to do the book. Because at the time he wasn't interested in doing books, but after he did the designs, he was into doing the book. So, he was psyched about the cyborgs and the theme. So in that case, me and my man Zach Tobacco, we write together. We've been writing together for 15 years.
Co-writer.
So we just wrote a script that was for the first one, that was just a description for what was on each page, and it was pretty lean. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was meant for him to interpret the story and the actions of that however he wanted.
Okay.
Took him a long time to do it, and I think so the second time, we laid it out panel by panel and gave him more instruction.
Okay.
And he worked really fast with that. So it's 2 different kinds of styles, just in terms of how we communicated to the writer or to the artist from the script. 2 different kinds of scripts. The first one they sort of call the Marvel method, and then you kind of go back in and refine the dialogue and stuff afterwards. The second one, was a little bit more detailed. But even with that, we didn't really give him the whole dialogue script. We just we just
him a little freedom.
We wrote the action and gave him a sense of what was going on, what was being discussed on the page.
Yes.
How's that work for you?
That sounds great. I mean, I think you want to give the artist some. Rob.
There's never. I'm out in the woods. This is in New York. This always happens. You can always hear sirens by my apartment. Never hear that out here. I don't know what's going on. Seems
it's tough. It's tough when the cops are coming outside the Splendopia studios.
Yeah, it's just water. It's just water.
No, the process conversation made sense to me. I think it's, I think it's important because you guys as the writers are artists, and then the artist himself is a literal artist, then you have to let everybody have some creativity on their own. If you don't, then they'll feel stifled and you won't get the true.
Absolutely. I believe so. I believe it's a collaboration, but it's also like, I heard, the description of like a comic, because like the artist is the most important thing, I mean, fundamentally, I think in comic books, but the writer writes it. So, you have to have something to draw. So, I heard it described as like the writer's script to like the artist should be like a love letter. And I kind of like that. I kind of like that idea where it's it's kind of like, love letter. Like this is like this is a secret that we share together.
Right.
And I'm trying to like entice you. I'm trying to get you excited about about bringing this union to like, climax.
Yeah. I like that. It makes me think of Michael Odin. Remember Michael Odin from Elysian Fields and Joshua Plack from Eudaimonia? It was story is king. It's nothing without the story. So
here's one more guy, another great writer. I just wanted to give a shout out to him. That's Grayscale. Michael Derrick, welcome to Glitter City. So he's like blasting on back there. But that's enough time talking about other projects.
True.
And we've got these like great guests.
That's true.
With us. So why don't you do what you do?
All righty. Up next, we got to go down under to grab Stephen Koch to tell us all about Terralympus, Volumes 1 and 2. Stephen, good morning. 5 a.m. down there. Let's bring him out. There he is.
There he is. We got it.
Hey, good morning from the future.
Yes.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for coming.
No, look, thanks for having me on. You can ask me any question you want about the future, and I'll answer. We don't have flying cars yet, though.
It's tomorrow. Not yet. Yeah, this is it. Well, let's talk about the future of your project. Booyah!
Great segue.
Awesome.
Yeah. So here we go. Terralympus, Volume 1 and 2. Earth is a distant memory. The remnants of humanity now lives aboard the space station Terralympus. I love sci-fi. I'm excited for you to tell us about this project. A lot of times we have guys on and we try to get to know them. I want to ask you some questions about yourself first, but let's do a pitch for this off the bat.
Oh, awesome. Look, it's a dystopian sci-fi. So the whole concept is Earth is gone and all humanity now lives aboard the space station Terralympus. It takes the viewpoint of an engineer. Her name is Mia. You can see her. She's the one jumping out of the space station there. She loves being an engineer. She's not a soldier. She's not a fighter. Actually, she's a bit of a fighter, but she likes fixing things. And in the course of her fixing something, she discovers, hey, look, there's something not quite right about what's happening on the station. And it's like a thread that she pulls. The more she pulls, the more that gets unraveled. And it's sci-fi, but it's also a mystery of the more she digs, the more she finds a conspiracy of, hey, look, maybe not everything is quite as it seems.
Yeah.
So, you missed the alternate cover. If you scroll back
go
up,
back, Robert.
This is by, I don't know if you've seen his work, a bit lower actually, the black and white cover.
Oh,
right there.
By Sebastian Navas. He's the guy, I think, Gilbert. He's for Grom, Galactic Rodents of Mayhem, I think.
Okay.
I saw his work, absolutely loved it, so I borrowed his artist for a variant cover. So
cool. I think it looks great. Yeah, I love this. I love this kind of story. It's like a sci-fi mystery. Like sounds awesome.
Like we say it's like what's Elysium, the space station movie with Brad Pitt or Matt Damon?
Yep. Slightly different though. I think Elysium had the whole concept, the themes about different types of people. The people above, the people below. It was a whole theme of, say, class warfare involved. Not so much with this one. This one is much more. The themes that run through it is like what happened with Earth, what's happened afterwards, and more about how humanity has survived. Just on the fight scenes, and I think you guys are talking about how to script fight scenes. So the one thing I love about, look, I'll confess, I'm a big Ronda Rousey fan. So
Nice.
Okay.
even to her WWE career. So, please don't judge me too harshly for that.
No, I think that's I love we love the WWE here.
We love the WWE.
Awesome. So, so a lot of the moves that are taken from here, we took from Ronda Rousey's fights. So you can kind of see here. I think one of the things was a single knee takedown followed by a standard ground and pound.
Mm-hmm.
In volume 1, there's when they fight, there's a guy who gets locked in an arm bar. So we have lots of fun with it. So when I talk to the artists with this, because with fight scenes, it's harder to script because what I tend to do is when I'm talking to the artist, I send him little YouTube video clips like of the specific takedowns or specific moves and say, hey, look, can you incorporate this in? And I find in terms of fight scenes, UFC is a gold mine because they provide, I think, one of the most realistic fight scenes because in UFC, it doesn't matter how you beat your opponent. It just matters that you get the tap or you get them knocked out, which I love. So I think it's probably the closest you get from, to a real fight.
Sure.
Stephen, you'd say it's not whether you win or lose. It's whether you win.
Oh, it's how you win.
How you win.
That's the old Donald Trump.
That's the old Donald Trump.
Yeah. This is great. I'm just going down the campaign. It's taking a little while to refresh. You want to talk about? I scrolled by the tiers that you have available. Do you want to talk about those for us?
Okay, so the tiers are pretty simple. Like I've kept it as easy as possible. So when you get volume 2, because volume one was done last year. So with volume 2, you get a small business card and a small little A5 print. One of the reasons we don't have huge prints, unfortunately, is I'm in Australia. If shipping is going to be astronomical if you ship anything that's larger in size. So unfortunately, I couldn't do the T-shirts or anything that's bulky. Everything has to be nice and flat, basically. So you get with every volume 2, you get a nice little business card and A5 print. We also have a A5 print pack, which is A5 is about the size of a postcard. If it's not sure, I think it's 6 inches by 5 inches. I think I'm not. I have it written in the campaign, but you get some really cool looking prints. These are 3 A5 prints. The other thing I should mention is in terms of the actual book itself, it's perfect bound, so it's like a trade paperback.
Okay.
And I'm a bit of a paper snob, so
it's what kind of back?
Perfect bound. So it's a trade paperback.
What does that mean?
Okay, so most floppies comics are saddle stitched, which is basically a staple punches through them.
Okay.
Perfect bound is done with a spine, so it's those graphic novels that you have. So and so it's done with a glue backing and a spine. So it's a nice book that you can put on your bookshelf. You have a nice spine, you see the edge onto it. So all the books are there. The paper quality is 150 GSM. So if you're not sure about what GSM is, standard print paper is 80 GSM. That's grams per square meter, I think, if I remember the terminology right. But this one's 150. So the paper is actually twice as thick as normal print paper. Wow. So
thickness is important.
Yeah. Look, I'm a paper snob. You touch it, the paper is smooth. The one thing why we made it such a high GSM is the comic is in grayscale, so you can kind of see it if you look at the space behind it, especially the space scenes behind Mia. You can see how the grayscale works. In terms of say comic development, it was actually an interesting choice for me because look, I've done comics in color before, but when the artist brought this artwork to me, you can freeze on that page if you like.
Yeah, I love this this style. Yeah, absolutely, black and white.
Yeah, with the detail that he gave, I was going, oh man, I made a judgment call, 50-50 to color it or grayscale it, and I went grayscale because I think it brings it out just so much more.
Yeah,
all the details, all the fine bits, you would lose, I think, a little bit when you color it in.
Right. Well, it's really hard to print this is why you went with like the better paper. It's really hard to print these grayscale tones and have them all be reproduced, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So if you haven't have volume 1 already, the volume 1 is available on most tiers. So you just have to pick a tier, and the right tiers will have volume 1 in it. You saw, I think you scrolled through it, there were lots of original artwork as well.
Yeah, let's look
What
at some of those
happened?
again.
Yep.
Yeah.
What happened was
Some of them,
all
the
this is
Batman, some of them are sold out, but some.
Yeah.
Yep.
Here, I'll go.
So-
the sold out ones are down here. I'll go from the bottom up.
Yep.
Venom.
So
So
you got a Batgirl,
because it was
Wolverine.
done digitally, we didn't have any artwork to give out. So the artist Von Randall, he really nicely put together 7 pieces of original artwork.
Yeah.
And yeah, so if you really like original artwork, these are the tiers to get. You get everything. You get volume 1, you get volume 2, you get the prints, and you get the original artwork.
Yeah. So this is great. Venom. I just lost it.
And with the currency exchange rate, it's a deal.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a deal.
I think you guys got like 40% off.
Yeah. I never understand that. Does that mean the dollar is stronger or the dollar is weaker? I never understand that. That's how that stuff works.
The US dollar is much stronger than ours. So
Stronger.
I think I give you 1 Aussie, you give me back something like 60 cents.
Okay. But then do you make 60% of what we make? Or, I mean, I never understand that,
Yeah,
right?
I make 60% of what you guys make.
Okay.
So a $5,000 campaign, say, I would get back about 3,000.
Okay.
So you got
AUD.
I just wanted to say the ones that are still available are the Venom and the Batman. Is that correct? That's it, right?
No, that's the 2 that are left. The rest are gone.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Yeah. Yep.
Oh,
Great.
sorry. Yep.
Hey, Rob.
Cool.
Rob,
Yes.
quick shout out to Elasmat's in the chat.
Oh, Lasmat.
Love
My man. We
Elasmat.
just had Lasmat back last week.
Yeah.
Definitely
Great
have him on
films.
again.
Yeah, if you get a chance, go to that website, Elasmat Films.
Okay, cool. And tell us about yourself, Stephen. Like what got you into comics? Why'd you decide to put your foot forward into this journey?
Okay. Look, I've been making comics now for about 4 or 5 years, give or take.
Okay.
Look, one of the main reasons is I have a daughter. She's 8, so I'm going to use her as the excuse a little bit. I've always wanted to do this. I've always wanted to write. I've always wanted to create things. And I suppose, I don't know about how your journey was with Cyborg USA, but for mine was I procrastinated. I probably gave away a decade of my life just going, yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, I'll write it. Oh, I've got this really good idea. Yeah, I'll do it tomorrow or something. And it drags. And I look back now and it's like 10 years I could have started, 10 years I could have done something. And it's just, now I'll do it tomorrow. There's always something else on. So my daughter was born and life changes. It becomes the 5 a.m. is basically her wake up time,
So it's cool that we got you on.
Yeah. So things change, but there was something that got to me was, I think we went to one of those daycare centers, and one of them was just, look, they were being really nice. And they were just saying, like, hey, she likes art or she likes this. What do you think she's going to do in the future? And for me, it's like, oh, whatever she wants to be, we'll support her and all the rest of it. And then you kind of think back to yourself. You go think, you know what? What are you going to tell your kids in the future? 10 years from now when she goes, hey, did you do what you wanted to do? And honestly speaking, if I look back when she says she's 18 and she asked me that question, I'll go, you know what? I did do it. I did create the comic I wanted. It did this, was lucky for this. But if I told her when she's 18, oh, look, I always want to write a comic. I'll get round to it later. I couldn't live with myself. And my wife was very supportive at that point to say, hey, look, basically get off your ass and do something about it. Win, lose, or draw. If you don't try, you're going to regret it. And
Bingo.
And it's gonna haunt you a little bit to go, you know what? You wanted to tell this story. and you're not telling the story. So
yeah,
I'm
tell
my
your
little goal.
story. Tell your story.
I find that like that to be like really inspirational and
Absolutely.
really like touching, you know, where it comes from with your kid. And Cyborg US is like a little bit different. It's sort of the same in the sense that like I had this idea a long time ago, and then I decided to do it like just kind of because like I reached a point in my life where I was like I had been writing projects that weren't getting made, and I wanted to make something myself that I like really believed in, and that was like a story that I wanted to tell. You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely. So, like, I suppose, like most creatives, you come to the point where you go, you know what, pick a story and take a chance on it. And like, look, if one day I ever show you my notebooks, it's got millions and millions of story ideas in it. And in the end of the day, you just have to pick one, because it's really fun to write outlines, but it's actually really difficult to finish a script.
Sure.
Well, and it seems like we live in such an interesting time where you have platforms like Indiegogo where you can crowdfund your dreams. You know, you can crowdfund your own stories and get them told in ways that didn't exist 10, 20, 30 years ago. Seems like it's a great time to be a comic book producer.
Oh, definitely. Look, the gatekeeping in terms of, say, publishing has actually dropped a lot. Look, I'm from Australia. Look, and this TERRALYMPUS is probably about my 6th graphic novel. So I've got a distributor, small publisher in Australia, and they get the books out to the libraries, to the schools and stuff for me, which is really nice. But these type of platforms did not exist before. Before you had to pitch to a publisher, they had to take a chance and all the rest of it. Now they tend not to. Now they want to see how well you do first, then take a chance on you. So it's reversed a lot. I think it's interesting. I think it opens up the world to publishing that has never been opened before. Even say filmmaking with technology like what we're doing now. This would have been a studio interview. Say even 10 years ago, this would have been a studio interview.
I know.
Web conferencing would have worked. You know, you wouldn't be able to talk to, I would have filmed my components, send it to you. You edit your components with your questions, and, you merge the two together.
I went to film school. I used to flatbed edit film,
Right.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. So you know exactly now with, say, filmmaking now. Man, a lot of filmmakers have the advantage to say, and you can do some really awesome special effects now.
Incredible.
That 10, 20 years ago, man, you had to pay through the nose to get done.
Some of the filmmaking that can be done now with drones, some of the camera shots with inexpensive little drones are absolutely incredible. It's some of the technology we're trying to bring to you on the Splendopia Hour Live, but still working on that production.
Oh, because I teased. I wanted to make sure we brought Ben in. I was like, we're getting about halfway in the show.
The fuse box.
So why don't you introduce him?
All
we're
right.
gonna put up his project too and talk to him.
Let's bring out a friend of the show, old timer Ben Fuselier, the fuse box. Here he is.
What's up, y'all?
What's up? Thanks for hanging out like in the back room for
I was enjoying the show.
Awesome, brother. Awesome.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, I brought your project up. Why don't you jump in? So you've been hearing what we've been talking about. Why don't you jump in on any of those topics?
Oh, well, I mean, this is the ultimate example of what y'all were talking about. Because I am also somebody who went to film school, and this was an idea I originally had to make as a movie or as a movie series. And then as time went along, my priorities kind of shifted, and essentially I was just really dedicated to getting the story out there in some fashion. And so I tried to write it as a novel, and I think I got about like 20 pages in, and I realized I freaking hate writing novels. And when Comicsgate came along, it renewed my interest in comics. And, push came to shove, I realized that this story would work great as a comic book. And so here we are.
Here we are. So you just you the first 30 days of your campaign ended, and then you launched or kind of relaunched, as that works, right?
Yep.
And so now you're about half, 2/3 of the way to your fixed goal. So how's that going? I see you making the rounds. You've been on YouTube's. How's it happening?
Oh God, like we had a nice rush in the first part of the campaign, and now we have hit such a snag, and I have no idea.
People talk about all this in crowdfunding. There's kind of like a dead spot in the middle. I don't know what to tell you about that. Maybe that's what you're experiencing, and it'll pop up. You seem to be on a pretty good trajectory to make it, though.
I hope. I'm still, I'm an anxious person, so like when I see no movement, it gets me going.
Yeah, well, I mean that definitely happens on campaigns. So let's talk about why don't you pitch the book for people that didn't see last time you were on.
Yeah, should we watch the video again, Robert?
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah,
and we didn't for TERRALYMPUS. We love watching those videos.
Yeah, I think that
especially once Fusebox, he told us he went to film school, so this thing better be good.
I was mostly a screenwriter.
Oh, okay.
I want to play it. Let me play it. I think the sound's going to work. Sometimes I'm not sure if I did it. So
Wiggle Wiggle says, "Hail Fusebox." Okay, here we go.
Is that working?
Yep.
Great.
The Render Contender.
Oh yeah.
Fresco is proudly giving you Outlaw Nights, Genesis of a Renegade. 25 pages. First of 6 issues. An epic adventure.
I need to get you to do the voiceover.
I'd love to do it for you. Fusebox. Space.
Anton is available.
Yeah, I'd love to do it for you. Planet Interstate. Cyrus Lawson holds down the law. Piracy. Ivory keeps things tough for Cyrus. Guns. Hail Fusebox, Wiggle Wiggle in the chat room.
Oh, bless you, Wiggle Wiggle.
And
there we go.
More guns.
I like it.
Outlaw Nights. Only on Indiegogo.
We need more guns. I just saw that. I don't know. I don't usually get into this kind of stuff, but like,
oh boy, here we go.
Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers is like they're taking away Elmer Fudd's shotgun because they're like, they don't want to promote guns.
How?
That's so dumb.
No, for like, I don't know, like moving forward.
Like in the future, they're not gonna like scrub the old.
No, but like, what's Elmer Fudd gonna do without a fucking shotgun?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, what threat is Bugs Bunny under from Elmer Fudd?
Elmer Fudd's a hunter,
with no firearm, and the firearm is what makes him look like an idiot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they're complete idiots.
What? What's he gonna do?
Because the guy's got so you're like, you want to make a stance against gun violence, right?
Right.
So you take the gun away from the doofus that usually shoots himself in the face.
Or
you know what I mean?
He like turns the barrel around.
Yeah. I mean, that's an ad. I when I used to watch that as a kid, I was like, I better be careful around those rifles. You know what I mean?
It taught you gun safety watching Elmer Fudd make his mistakes.
Yeah, it's like you fucking these fucking idiots.
Put me in charge of Warner Brothers. No idea what we're talking about. He hasn't seen a handgun in 35 years. He has no idea.
Oh yeah, they took all your
Elmer Fudd. I like Elmer Fudd.
No, I mean guns in general. They don't have.
They took all your guns away like 30 years ago, right? So
yeah, back in '96, I think.
Right.
It's hard to find guns in Australia now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of had the same like path that we almost went down, but there's never, no, it's never going to happen in the United States.
Right.
So we all have guns.
We all have them.
Right. We're not giving up our guns.
Yeah. Like I have my go bag, I got handgun, $500 cash, 100 euros, ready to roll.
Yeah, exactly, man.
In case you hear those sirens coming.
I've got those things stashed everywhere.
20 paces past the old oak tree.
Yeah, exactly. I know all the maps. They're all up here. The ones that aren't tattooed to my enemies.
Fusebox loved that one.
Yeah, thank you, Matt.
Stephen,
why don't we play your video?
To Ben, actually, if that's okay.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Let's
start a
this
dialogue.
really intrigued me. And you mentioned that you were a screenwriter, and I know Rob, you mentioned as well that you did film school. But how hard is it to convert, say, a screenplay into a comic script? How do you find that process?
It didn't feel super difficult for me. It was mainly just the formatting that was different. And it was also just, you have to bear in mind, like, when you're writing a screenplay, you tend to, you think about the entire scene, like all the actions and stuff, and you want to do every single little frame. But, with comics, you have to remember to simplify that down to one frame telling, an action or something like that. Basically, like you have to simplify it down so that the story can be told through a series of just pictures, which can be a little, it can trip you up a little bit. But
well, so like a good screenplay should be doing that, right? It should be walking you through like a series of pictures, but you're going to be able to, like, on a page, a screenplay page, it's like a minute. You might be able to do, depending on how you're like montaging, like, way more images than you're ever going to be able to get on a page of your comic book, right?
Exactly.
So like the other thing I think about is like the medium, like film medium, you're like watching those images and they're unfolding like in motion. But like the page you experience is like its own work of art. So like what I always looked at it as like trying to think thematically about like, what is this page about? Like breaking it, instead of like breaking it down, like in a screenplay, like shot by shot, what is a shot about? What is this unit of motion about? Like, like what is this page about? And then, and then further breaking it down, you know what I mean? But also like keeping in mind that like, it needs to be like a work of art. Like it needs to have its own, like, visual energy.
Absolutely.
I thought you did that really well in Cyborg USA, Rob, because you definitely have some pages.
Oh, well, thank you, Anton.
That like you open up the book. I'm not just plugging your own product because we're on the show. But,
keep going. Yeah, I love it. Keep talking. It's great.
Where you open that.
Some people don't think it's that good.
It's very good. It's very good.
I heard one guy didn't like it, but I think he didn't read it.
What, Delta Spark Force or no? It was a different guy. No.
Go ahead.
No, we like Delta Spark Force.
Anton, did we lose you?
No, I'm still here. You're the one I think.
No. It was the guy who liked Delta Spurg. No.
Did you lose me? I'm here.
He loved it. I might be lagging. Yeah.
I think you're lagging a little bit. What I'm trying to say.
No, I'm here. We're all here. Everybody's here. So what was this? Keep talking about the great job while we have these guests here.
Okay. I just want to tell you one thing about Cyborg USA. I love your comic book. You've got those pages, like you open it up and some of them are really paneled down and you got a lot of panels. And then some of them you open it up and that whole like 2-page thing is like one art scene, like the one where like they all flip the signs in the crowd. Right. I thought you played with like different panel sizes and like full things to really get the impact of the art with the story very well. That's it.
Well, Pablo gets a lot of credit for that, especially in the first. But that is how we approached like the script that we gave to him.
Yeah. Well, great. Thank you for letting me say that, Rob.
Steven, I want to play your video because I failed to play your video. So let me get that up.
Thanks.
Yeah, we got to see the TERRALYMPUS video.
Yeah, we got to do the videos, man.
We love space station kind of shows.
What the fuck is wrong with me? Where's Kate at? Is Kate here, or am I gonna have to talk to her?
I don't know. Professor. I called her guest last week.
Yeah, okay.
I love space station-y shows like Deep Space Nine. That's a good one.
Oh yeah, that is a good one.
Deep Space Nine is good.
All right, this is gonna play. I'm gonna start playing it. Watch.
Hit it.
I think it should work.
Earth is a distant memory, and humanity now lives aboard the space station TERRALYMPUS. I'm Senior Engineer Mia. Welcome to the space station TERRALYMPUS. Most days I'll be fixing something inside the station. Not today. Today I'm staring into the darkness of space. I'm about to take the leap into the unknown. Simple as pie. What does that mean? A mod should drop a link. I don't know what that means.
Don't worry about it. The YouTube talk.
Except it's never that easy. Oh, you're like the moderator. Now I'm getting it, right? That's what it is. This is me at the command.
Yeah, if there's a...
What the hell just happened?
Something is wrong. Well, my eardrums.
Oh, that was awesome.
That was dope.
That was awesome.
This is a great effect. Yeah, I love this. Yeah, I love this animation that you're doing on this.
Yeah.
Now we're editorializing over.
Well, come on. That's what we're going to... You don't bring your product on the Splendopia Hour and expect to not be criticized. We're going to run it through the gamut.
We're here to... We're subjecting your projects to harsh interrogation.
Harsh criticism.
Awesome.
I think that looks great.
That looked up. Tell me about the animation that you did on that. How'd you pull all that together?
I actually had a guy to animate the bits. So what he does is he takes a mask of each of the panels and he basically pulls that one image out. You can kind of see it's very simple animation. So they basically lasso a section and then they move that section around. It still has a really, really nice effect. Then what I did was I got some royalty-free music. I kind of merged everything together, threw some words on, and Bob's your uncle, really. I did have a plan to get a
Bob's your
really
uncle.
good...
I love that. I haven't heard Bob's your uncle in a while.
I did have a plan to get this really nice voiceover, like I always imagine Mia had a really nice Southern accent, but I didn't get it in time, and I thought, oh gosh, just launch it the way it is. But I might revisit that. I'll get that voiceover going.
I like the way Anton read Mia.
Oh, you have a really good voice, Anton. I've never heard you before until today.
Thank you so much.
I'm trying to do this is like a Brady Bunch thing where I play.
Right.
See, this is if you guys were on screen, we could do that. I'd be like, Steven, you know what I mean?
Steven got fuse box. The Aussies and the Brits, you guys do a lot of like the rhyming thing too, right? It's like Jack and Jill is like means to go up the hill or what, you know what I mean? Like there's
what?
Like Barney Rubble. It's like, oh, I'm in rubble, and that means you're in trouble.
Yeah,
right? Like
there's a lot of Australians.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah,
yeah, we do a lot of like shrine as well. It's like that. If you ever get bored, Google STRINE, shrine. So it's just all the Australian colloquialisms. So instead of about 2 hours, it's bet 2 hours, bet 2 hours. So everything gets shortened. So, like for example, Rob becomes Robbo, and Ben becomes Anton. You will drop your ton and probably also Anto or something.
Yeah,
that's my Australian, Rob.
What is? So we started talking about this because of Bob's your uncle. What is Bob's your uncle? Is that like a rhyme for something? What does that mean? I know what it means, but I don't know what the origin of it is. It's like there you go, basically. Bob's your uncle. Maybe it's just like we all have an Uncle Bob. I have Uncle Bob's.
I'm not sure where it comes from.
Are you an Uncle Bob?
Well, you know what? I'm an Uncle Bob.
You're an Uncle Bob.
And I have an Uncle Bob. And my dad and my father-in-law are both Bobs, and my grandpa was a Bob. So Bob is your uncle, I guess. Sorry.
Here you go.
I just Googled it actually because I was really curious. It's actually an Irish slang. So Australia, because all the convicts came from Ireland, we took some Irish slang with us.
There you go.
What and do they give any sort of like?
Here you go, Rob. I'll give it to
etymology?
you.
Oh, you
I'll
got
give
it,
you-
Anton.
The origins are uncertain, but a common theory is that the expression arose after conservative Prime Minister Robert Gascoigne Cecil, 3rd Marquis of Salisbury, or Bob, as he was known, appointed his nephew Arthur Balfour as Chief Secretary for Ireland. An act of nepotism, which was apparently both surprising and unpopular. Whatever other qualifications Balfour might have had, Bob's your uncle was seen as the conclusive one.
Wow.
Bob's your
That's pretty cool.
Bob's your uncle. You get it done.
That is cool. That's very cool to know. Awesome. I'm excited about. I'm excited about our show.
On that next week.
It's a gold letter show. Gold letter.
Red
Star
letter.
show.
Red letter. Gold star. Red letter. All of the above. It's the Splendopia Hour Live, Rob. I don't know.
What haven't we done? You know, Ben usually gets Ben got the question that you usually shoot out.
Well, you know, I have a new one.
Oh, do you? Okay, so you could shoot Ben the new one. Okay.
Well, no, I wanted to discuss. You know, I was thinking in my head back when I was a kid, and I remember having comic book store moments, right? Like where there was like the local comic book store. It was in the mall, and you know, you'd go in there and you'd spend your first like 10 minutes kind of looking around, seeing like, oh, it's the new
Bosco's.
Yeah, Bosco's, right? Yeah, comic book store like that. You've got like half the time you spend looking at kind of the novelty items, right? Like, oh, they've got the new fake vomit, they've got that. And then you'd find those comic books, right? And you could just go through them all and blah, blah, blah. And I wanted to know if that's kind of a common thing. If you guys, was there a comic book store? Do you have one that you remember as a kid? Like, oh, I would hang out in Bosco's like Rob, or
I used to go through the long boxes and dig through the back issues and
right.
go out. That was all the money I had that week. With comics.
Yeah. It was like, go ahead, Fuse.
Oh, I was just saying that most of my comic book experiences were either done at like book fairs or at like grocery stores and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, that's cool. Comic books used to be sold at grocery stores. I mean, they used to be like I remember there used to be like a place where I used to spend summers is Homer, Alaska. It's like a big fishing, town. And they had a comic book store there. But I also got most of my comic books at like Cars, which was the grocery store.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, in Australia, they used to have it in news agencies, actually. So that's where there was, if this is a fun fact, all Marvel
we'll be
comics,
the judge of that.
Back in the 90s, if you notice why, if you go through Diamond, for example, you need to give at least 3 months notice. It was actually because of Australia, actually, way back that happened, that time frame. Mainly because what Marvel Comics used to do is they used to send a whole pile of comics where they printed, instead of the 75 cents US, they'll print like $1 Australian or $1.50 Australian. It just took a little bit longer for it to come to Australia because I think a month additional, that the longer time frame was put in place so that Australia could still get its comics with printed the Australian currency in time.
Okay.
So
wow.
So they would be released the same month as in the States? Is that the idea?
Same month as the States, but with the Australia with the Australian currency instead of the US currency on it.
Got it. Interesting.
Like Archie comics are always like
stopped it, but there's still quite a lot of old, like, I suppose if you're collecting like First Carnage or whatever, there's a couple of key issues that if you can find the Australian variant, they actually supposedly worth quite a bit.
Do you know there's a cool thing, Anton? There's a Spider-Man, like midway through the Spider-Man run, like Mexico, they just I think this is right. Mexico, like they just got their own artists to like keep running the comic. So I don't know if it was like after a pivotal moment, but it's like an alternate continuity of Spider-Man from like whenever they started that.
I got
you guys know about that story? Question. I don't know that much about it.
I'll give you a Spider-Man question for the group then. I just watched that Enter the Spider-Verse.
Oh God.
Okay. Ben is not a big fan. But let me ask, there's always the meme too with like all the like Spider-Men like pointing at each other.
Yeah.
What's that all about?
Oh, that's actually the original Spider-Man cartoon. So if you go back in time, and this is probably back to the Elmer Fudd discussion, some of the old cartoons are not very politically correct.
Mm-hmm.
So what they did was, from all those old cartoons, they brought some scenes which are questionable, and they memed it. So yes, there was a really old Spider-Man cartoon. I'm not sure.
That's in, I think 1967. That's the one where it's like Spider-Man.
And so back then you could get away with a little bit more, and so they took certain shots and they had absolute fun with it now.
Okay. I got to look it up. I like that Spider-Verse fuse, Ben. I like that. The animation I thought's great, right? It's visually stunning.
I guess just for me, like in terms of like my taste in comic book stories, I really don't like when comics go into the multiple universe things.
Okay.
It's too much for me, you know.
What about
I
Star
really
Trek
like
The Next Generation?
I mean, I wasn't a Star Trek fan, so
okay. You know, there's a great episode, right, where Worf ends up like in this wormhole situation, and like every million possible outcome of his life happens, right? And all of a sudden, it's like all these different universes are happening, and it's just a think, right? There's a Worf that made
it has one of my
decision. Go ahead, Robert.
That's one of my favorite lines. Is Mr. Worf does not belong in our universe. It's like a deadpan Data line.
Yes,
good joke.
This Mr. Worf does not belong in our universe.
I was gonna say I just started reading Spider-Woman.
Okay.
The original run from I don't know, 70s, I guess. And Marv Wolfman is writing that, and he wrote the Crisis. I think he's great. I love him. He wrote Crisis on Infinite Earths, which I like absolutely adore. So I'm into all that stuff. I think it goes like too far. It becomes confusing to the audience, but I like the way that the DC plays in that arena. I will disagree with you.
Spider-Man mythos, one of the best runs, I think it's the writer for Babylon 5, J. Michael Straczynski. He did a very, very good long run on Spider-Man. Look, the ending sucks because it was a mandated ending from the editor. Spoiler alert, they break up Mary Jane's marriage to him and all the rest of it. So and he does a deal with the devil and all the rest of it. So the ending is horrible. Yeah. But the run itself is actually really, really good. From it delves into, if you think about Spider-Man, a lot of his villains are animal based. Like you got the Rhino, the Vulture, and it deals into that idea that Spider-Man as an animal and the totems that they bind us. Why is he fighting vultures? Why is he fighting rhinos and scorpions and all the rest of it? What attracts those type of villains to him? And I thought it was fascinating. And then you have what hunts the spider, and he introduced a lot of really, really interesting characters. And if you look it up, it's his run on J. Michael Straczynski. His run on it. Just don't read the ending. The ending is the worst ending.
The ending is infamous. Dan Slott wrote the ending, right? Is that, or I'm not sure.
They made him write the ending. He basically, I think if you go back to some of the news articles, he actually said, "I don't want my name on this. I'll write the dialogue, but I don't want my name on this." I think Joe Quesada at the end said, put your name on it. This is your ending, your story, not mine. And Dan Slott took it over from there.
Right. So yeah, people didn't like it because they broke up. They had the devil break up Peter. He made what's the deal? He made a deal with the devil, and it broke up his marriage.
Just say if I may.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then I don't know. People want to see that couple together. I think, or I have the fond memories of the I grew up with the Todd McFarlane and the Eric Larson run, where those two were just this gorgeous, glamorous New York couple. I don't know, that's part of it, I think.
Right. He's out as Spider-Man now at that point? Like they know Peter Parker is Spider-Man or no?
Oh, and they retconned that by the devil making people forget as well. So they did a lot of questionable decisions. They did a soft reboot.
Right.
The devil kind of swept all the story, I guess, into the the next iteration of it.
Yeah.
And then Slott took it into a place where he was like, I don't know, a lot of people think they just like totally humiliated the character, and that's why like a lot of people kind of turned on Dan Slott. That started a lot of like what's called like Comicsgate. This guy like Doug Ernst.
Hail Comicsgate.
Doug Ernst is like this kind of like right-wing blogger, and he would get in these like Twitter fights with Dan Slott, and Dan Slott, would tell customers to, go fuck themselves. Like he's doing his story the way he wants, and that kind of started Comicsgate basically.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, wow.
A big part of it. I mean, one segment of it.
That Peter Parker reminds me of they did that same move in Dallas in the 80s, season 5. Remember Rob, when it turned out that Bobby, that whole season was a dream?
Oh, I remember. Right? Yeah. Yeah, bullshit.
Was that a great one?
Bullshit. It's like the end of St. Elsewhere.
You think
remember the end of St. Elsewhere?
The St. Elsewhere? The ending?
You don't remember that one?
What was the ending of that one? The dream situation?
It was it was all like an autistic kid's snow globe.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And the last scene, they like pull it away, and it's the snow globe, and the hospital was in there the whole time. Yeah. That's right.
It's just some autistic kid, like, that doesn't talk.
Mm.
Oh man, I hate those. It's you invest in the characters. Don't. Oh, man, it's the cheapest endings. Those I find. Even Roseanne did it.
Yeah. Well,
that's right.
The guy that did it the right way was the genius Bob Newhart when he ended the Newhart show. That was the best ending of TV history all time.
Well, and then he did it again, right? That's how he ended the Bob Newhart show, but then he also did it when he ended the Newhart show.
Well, what did he? The end of the Newhart show is what I'm talking about, where he wakes up.
That was with Larry, and brother Daryl, and my other brother Daryl.
Yeah, he wakes up and it's his wife from the previous Newhart show.
There you go.
That was all a dream,
That's what it was. Okay.
Yeah. It's like I dreamt I was like running a B&B in Vermont. Fucking idiots.
Bob Newhart is so funny. Are those shows available anywhere?
Bob Newhart's awesome.
He's so funny.
Marv Wolfman is also legendary. I don't know. We're running out of time, guys.
Marv Wolfman. Hey, Robert, tell me who Marv Wolfman is.
Well, he was the guy I just talked about. He's a famous comic book writer. So I met him a couple of years ago at the New York Comic Con. But he, when we were talking about DC is famous for like their crisis events, which are they use it to like reboot their universe. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Right. So there's like one in the 80s that's really, really good. And the rest of them are just kind of a cheap, kind of pale imitation. But Marv Wolfman wrote that. He also started the Spider-Woman series that I'm reading right now. And he had like probably the best run on Teen Titans. So like his run with George Perez on the Teen Titans is legendary, and he's just a legendary comic book writer.
Sounds like the type of guy we need to get on the Splendopia Hour live.
He's been on the Billy Tucci show. I think I should go watch that. Let's
get him on here.
See what happens. I'll reach out to him. Why don't you guys let's do, how do we want to do this? One last pitch, and then
one last pitch.
We'll round this up. So Stephen, why don't you go first? I'll call up the screen one more time.
Plenty of copies available. Get out there. Everybody support this project.
Right.
And of course, as always, you can find the links to all of these projects on the Splendopia Facebook page, right, Rob? That's right.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. We don't have a Facebook page, but go for it.
Yeah.
No, go to Indiegogo and Google these guys.
Go to Indiegogo.
I don't have mods. That's what I was talking about before. YouTube, a lot of times YouTube shows they have moderators, and then they're empowered to put links in the chat. But I don't have.
Like we need a second moderator. We
have to give people wrenches to be moderators.
Okay.
See what I mean? We should give Wiggle Wiggle a wrench.
You make Wiggle Wiggle our guy.
Maybe. I'll think about it.
Think about it.
You got to be careful with those wrenches, man.
It's true. They throw a wrench into all the works. Right?
I don't know.
Steven knows what I'm talking about.
All right. So that's TERRALYMPUS. Steven, go ahead. One last, give us the elevator pitch.
Look, there's 5 days to go on it. If you like good science fiction, if you like science fiction that's grounded in reality, so the characters are compelling, good compelling characters, great artwork by Von Randall, and also some really awesome reward tiers. Please check out TERRALYMPUS. And if I'm on Twitter and whatever. Feel free to send me a message if you like. But please check out the campaign and support it if you can.
Yes, a beautiful black and white take on some.
That's
space.
awesome. As I was scrolling down, I sneezed. I couldn't like mute myself and scroll at the same time. I'm sorry about that. So
that's right. You made more of a mistake about it, apologizing for the sneezing. We didn't even hear.
No, I like to talk. I like to talk about like the process. You know, one of the cool things about like you guys talked about, this is like a studio show. You know, this would require a studio to like do this, like 10 years ago or something. But I like the meta, like commentary aspect of it, where I can just talk about sneezing. You know what I mean?
That is the show. That's the show.
You've been watching too much Seinfeld,
right? That's the show. Talking about your sneezing.
I love Seinfeld.
I haven't watched Seinfeld in decades.
It's one of my favorite shows of all time.
Classic. A classic.
It's burned into my cortex, though, probably. There we go.
Now
I played this. All right. So there we go. Outlaw Nights. So one last pitch, Ben, and then we'll round it up.
So yeah, Outlaw Nights. If you guys love pirates, you love space, you love space operas, you love action, nonstop action, drama, and intrigue, you're gonna love Outlaw Nights. We take a new spin on the idea of colonization history repeating itself. And of course, we have the awesome futuristic underworld, which everybody needs to get on board.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Everybody's got
to back. If you don't like action, if you don't like space, get off this feed. You're watching the wrong show.
we got to get these projects back because we want people to support these guys and support their dreams and support independent creators. Who are making their dream projects. Like me. So that's why I do the show, to like give people a chance to talk about their projects. And thank you guys for coming on today.
Oh, thank you for having me on again, man. I appreciate it.
And thanks for waking up.
Thanks for having me on. Thanks as well.
Yeah.
Anton,
play them off. All right. That's our show, everybody. Another great one. We didn't lie. Big thanks to Stephen Koch, all the way down under, for telling us all about TERRALYMPUS Volumes 1 and 2. Great job. Friend of the show, Ben Fuselier. Welcome back, buddy. The Fuse Box. Always a pleasure. Just a few more days left in that campaign. Now, all of us, go out there, spread some love around, because it's what the world needs right now. On behalf of Rob Casey, I'm Anton Belvedere. We got to ask you, who has more fun than we do? We'll see you next time on the Splendopia Hour, live